OCD has a way of shrinking your world, not because it makes you anxious, but because it pulls your attention inward all day long. You start monitoring how you feel, checking whether the thought is still there, scanning your body, analyzing what it means, trying to work harder, trying to work out whether you're doing recovery properly, whether you're improving, whether you're safe, whether you're certain. And before you know it, your life becomes a small room inside your own head. And the most brutal part is that the more your world shrinks, the more powerful OCD feels, because when your attention is constantly stuck on you, OCD becomes the center of your life. So in this episode, I want to talk about the opposite move. Not how do I fix myself, but how do I expand my world again? Because when you start focusing outward, on people, on purpose, on movement, on contribution, on the real world, you stop feeding OCD the attention it needs to stay loud. And that shift can change everything. And if you're struggling with getting lost in your own internal dialogue, trying to fix OCD, I do have a 12-week program to help you to break free. If you're interested in applying for that, you can by following the link in the show notes. Something that I noticed over the many years that I struggled with OCD was that it would come up with new and interesting ways to try to pull me back into the trap all of the time. And it doesn't matter what type of OCD you might be struggling with. OCD has a way of coming up with these ingenious, very creative traps to pull you in. And often it's about monitoring, it's about going over a thought, it's about looking for certainty. And if you take the bait, because OCD is a very good fisherman, it kind of, it's constantly casting out with this really tasty bait. And we're almost like fish that are kind of swimming around. We can see the bait. Often we realize that it's bait, but we want to know 100% that it definitely is. And, so we take a little bite out of it thinking, I'm just going to take a small, tasty little bite of this bait, but I'm not going to fully bite down onto it. I'm just going to check it. I'm just going to make sure. But of course, once we do that, then we want to check more. We want to have more certainty. We want to know more about it. So we bite down a bit further. And before we know what's happened, we've got completely hooked on that thought, on that image, on that idea, on that sensation. And this is a really difficult place to find yourself. And this is really what kept me going round in circles with OCD for many years. A big part of what helped me to kind of learn to break out of this was learning to come into a state of flow. Flow is when you're doing something that, really interests you, that you want to be doing, that helps you to pay attention to the present moment, and that maybe gives you positive feedback from doing. Typically flow comes from doing things outside of us. Whether that's actually working with other people, helping people, talking to people, getting involved in an activity or a project, or, anything that really draws your attention away from monitoring what's going on inside. Really, if I had to say what it is that is the kind of main thing that keeps us stuck with OCD, it really is all of this kind of fixing that we're trying to do, all of this internal evaluation. We get lost with the sensations, we get lost with the thoughts. We're not as present as we could be in our lives. And that causes all of the pain, all of the suffering. When we're constantly kind of looking for that self-improvement fix, the next hack, the next perfect thing that's going to make us feel better, we're actually stopping ourselves from just, relaxing into the present moment and realizing that actually we're already okay. That in this present moment, there might be anxiety and uncertainty, but you know what? You can tolerate that stuff. You can learn to allow that stuff. As long as you are willing to kind of come away from all of this self-monitoring, all of this fixing, and instead focus on other things in your life that are more important to you. The more willing you are to do this on a regular basis, to focus on these other things outside of yourself, typically the less time we spend ruminating, doing compulsions, getting caught up with sensations, because we're realizing there's more important things that we want to focus on. And oftentimes when you do that, you come into the body And the body has this enormous intelligence. When we just allow it to take over, it actually helps to calm the nervous system down. We're not checking as much, we're not monitoring as much, and your body, it wants to calm down. Doing all that checking, monitoring, ruminating, it takes up an enormous amount of energy. And so when you just learn how to pause and instead focus outside of you, it's amazing how the body will take over and you just begin to feel a bit better. If this is resonating with you, I do have a 12-week program designed specifically to help you to break free from OCD. It includes weekly one-to-one coaching sessions, there's an optional group session, there's a community, there's worksheets, there's meditations, all sorts of things to help you to overcome OCD. If you're interested in applying for that, you can by heading over to my website, robertjamescoaching.com. Many thanks, and I will see you next time. This video is for education only. It's not therapy or medical advice. If you're struggling, please speak with a licensed mental health professional.